When it comes to frequencies and kind of protecting yourself, one of my favorite things to use is actually an essential oil called Angelica. Angelica, when it is worn on you, so if you can't find the stones that are proper for you, you can't find a diode to stop that energy frequency, you can use Angelica to do the same thing. So I'll usually wear it either right on my skin, usually here, but also I have like a diffusing pendant that I'll put it on as well sometimes. Angelica is a great frequency buffer to where you don't get a lot of that negative stuff. It also does significantly more things. So one of the other things I kind of want to talk to you about is I'm not going to try to influence you when it comes to book wise on when it comes to essential oils, because everyone's at a different stage, and I feel like you really need to look either at a health food store or even online on Amazon, or a local bookstore. You can find, I would always suggest starting with a very basic book that goes through and explains what each oil does. I personally usually try to stay away from brand specific ones, only because of the fact that they're going to be very skewed towards their products only, and you need to know in general what they do. If you do find a particular company that you then like, then it's totally fine to get their particular book, because that will help you understand their oils specifically. I'm also not going to talk about what brands or anything like that, but something you really do need to be aware of is the difference between aromatherapy based essential oils, therapeutic based, and then therapeutic based that is also organic. So starting with aromatherapy essential oils are usually grown specifically for higher smell, because what you're trying to do is get it into the olfactory system and then heal through that way. So you need it to be stronger. That's when those are usually used in diffusers. Most of them are usually safe enough to use in soaps, stuff like that as well. But then therapeutic grade is the herbs are grown specifically for the healing properties of them, for antibacterial uses, or for each of them has their own. So that's one of the reasons you need to know, like, from a generalized book what each of those oils do specifically. That is always great to have, but I always go for organic. That's not 100% natural, I mean actually organic, because most of the time to do, for example, to do a single like 5 milliliter bottle of like rose takes over 50 acres of roses to make that essential oil. It's also why it's so expensive. But think of it this way. If you have 50 acres of roses that aren't organic, so they're being sprayed with pesticides, herbicides, stuff like that, you also have 50 acres of pesticides and herbicides in that mixture as well. So you do really have to be careful. Anyone who's sensitive, especially children, should only ever use organic. I prefer it anytime I'm putting anything on topically. Also, usually a company is not ever going to be food grade unless it is also organic. So be very careful. Always check websites. Don't take anyone's word for it. Always check the company's website, because they will tell you if it is food grade or not. I know a lot of people come and talk to me and they tell me about a particular brand they're using and how excited they are, and how some rep told them they could use it internally, and how disappointed they are when I bring up the website for the company and it says right on the website, do not take internally, topical use only. That is there for a reason, not just because FDA requires it, but because probably isn't safe to take internally. So you do have to be very careful with that. Another thing, once you get more advanced into essential oils, I really recommend finding a book that actually will tell you the frequency of the oil. For example, Angelica's is 85 megahertz is the frequency that it goes across, and that is both a physical and emotional frequency. So it's very healing for that wise. And then I know our favorite is usually frankincense.
Love frankincense. So generally beneficial and healing. And there's a reason why, because the frequency is super high on that one.
Indeed. My spiritual
frequency is high. The book even states it, that the frequency is extremely high. It's a high spiritual
It's
frequency.
so high that they can't even read it, basically. It just says high, extremely spiritual frequency.
So it's good.
Yeah, it's one of the highest ones that you can get. So it is used very often. A lot of people will use that when they're meditating. I know a lot of people use it spiritually in many different religions for many different things. Frankincense is also one of my favorite oils for a number of other things that we can't really go into right now, probably on the video. But really do your research. See what people are using it for. See what the books say that it's used for. If you read enough books and enough stuff, they usually have to dance around specific words due to not being allowed to say them. But if you read enough research, you'll figure out what it is that they're trying to dance around so that they don't get in trouble. Same with us.
I want to go into this because this book is really amazing. Like this book in particular, I love all this information here. And I mean, it goes into the uses, primary uses, other possible uses, but these properties, I mean, there's some certain properties: anti-cancer, antidepressant, anti-infection, anti-inflammatory, antiseptic, anti-tumoral, expectorant, meaning that it helps bring things out of the lungs, immune stimulant, and sedative. I mean, that's just amazing. And then it just goes into so many different possible uses, so I really like this book.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Always look for books, reputable books, anytime that you can. And get multiple. Like, don't stick with just one. I love cross-referencing through quite a few different books as well. But really, you need to find books that work specifically for you, according to your understanding level and how deep you really want to go with it. I use essential oils in everyday life to help with buffering against energy attacks. I use it for healing properties. My entire medicine cabinet is pretty much made up of essential oils or natural remedies now. I have almost no health-based remedies, natural health-based remedies. I mean, it's used for so many things, so many more things that we could even talk about right on the video because we have a short amount of time. But
there'll be more.
We'll dive into
each one in more detail, like
more.
The medicine bag full of stones. I want to go into each one of these stones in particular and dive into them individually and why they're good for me and why your particular medicine bag full of stones and essential oil usage and all of this would be in some way different, if anything, based off of your astrological imprint, because everything does wrap around astrology, and I mean I was completely skeptical, and it's very healthy to be skeptical because that could at least lead you down a path of multiple resources, cross-checking things. And Socrates said, I mean, the only true wisdom is knowing you know nothing, and that is just to spur the mind. I mean, you got to go after those information resources, cross-checking, and see what other people are saying, because who has the absolute truth? Good question. But yeah, we'll go into that in further detail later.
Indeed. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
Have
you.
a fantastic day.
Have a great one.